What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video we're going to be diving into the Holiday Cup, the best Pokemon, talk about the meta, and if you guys stick around to the end, we're going to be giving you some very strong teams that you guys can run this weekend in the Holiday Cup. Now, if you guys don't know, maybe you're new to GBL, this is your first year, the Holiday Cup comes around every year around Christmas time, right? It's the Holiday Cup. It's going to be 4-time Stardust this week as well, and it's also going to be Master League if you guys want to dive into that. But when it comes to the Holiday Cup, the meta is as follows. Normal, Grass, Electric, Ice, Flying, and Ghost type Pokemon are eligible. Dual types are allowed, so if it is a normal flying, like a Noctowl, then it will be allowed in the meta, even though flying is allowed here too. But you guys get it, dual types. It's not just mono types of grass and electric, etc. Now, when we dive into the meta, this is going to be on PvPoke. If most of you guys know this, I'm just reiterating for those who don't. PvPoke is a fantastic website you guys can go check out. It has rankings, battle simulations, help you build teams for any league or competition that you're doing. And as we can see right away, Vigoroth is number 1. And this is a topic I want to talk about for a little bit because Vigoroth this season got access to Rock Slide, an incredibly powerful rock-type charge move. And when you pair it, this move set alone is fantastic. Counter, Body Slam, and Rock Slide, especially in this meta. If you guys take a look at its key losses here, stuff like Skeledirge, Charizard, Skarmory, all of these don't like Rock Slide, and in fact, if a Rock Slide lands against something like a Charizard, it one-shots. If Skarmory and Vigoroth go into the 2-shield and Vigoroth gets a successful shield bait, Rock Slide KOs, right? It's Vigoroth is top dog in this meta, or top ape, top monkey, not sure, but you guys get what I'm talking about. Is the Vigoroth meta. So we're going to talk about a little bit more here about Vigoroth, because obviously you guys are probably starting to get a bit worried that Vigoroth is going to be out of control. And it is. I think it's going to be very strong, but there are good answers. Now, this is the meta matchups that we can see. Skarmory being the best answer here because it only takes neutral from Rock Slide and Counter. But if we actually change this to all Pokemon, we start to see some different Pokemon that can beat it a lot easier. I think something like a Palossand here, Mudshot, Scorching Sands, Shadow Ball could be very strong. You do very well in that matchup. Maybe something, where'd it go? Shadow Golurk, here it is. Shadow Golurk is something spicy as well. Whimsicott could be another good one. Fairy Wind and Seed Bomb. Venusaur obviously going to do well with that Frenzy Plant. So there are still good answers out there. It's just very funny when we take a look at some key losses that its Rock Slide handles that. So let me know down in the comments if you guys think that is balanced, if you're in favor of Vigoroth, you're on Team Vigoroth, or if you're like, this thing needs a nerf already, because it has been around for a long time. You guys know Specialty Cup metas is Vigoroth's territory. Now, as we go farther down, we get to see a lot of unique Pokemon that maybe you guys haven't used. Aurorus being one of them. This is a very strong Ice Rock Pokemon. As you guys can see, yeah, you guys can see all that. Powder Snow, Weather Ball, Ice, Meteor Beam, incredibly powerful combination. That Meteor Beam as well is a huge nuke. And in this meta, it can do pretty well. It obviously needs to watch out for stuff like a Vigoroth. Skarmory with Steel Wing is obviously going to be very troublesome. But I think where this thing will shine is when it can get a good farm down on something that it can do well against and have Meteor Beams on the back end. So maybe this is like an anchor on a team, and you need to utilize something else to draw out the that Vigoroth or Skarmory. Now, we also have Lantern here. Not going to talk a lot about Lantern. Water Gun in this meta is going to be pretty powerful. I think some Lanterns will still stay Spark just because people don't want to TM it away. And also in the mirror, Spark does a bit better. But Water Gun does well for 3 reasons. Aurorus, obviously, still does well against Skarmory. And we have a lot of Electrics, Grounds, and Fires. So this is why Water Gun is going to be, I think, more favorable in this meta, and you guys are going to see a lot of Lanterns. You guys, I mean, honestly, a lot of people don't want to spend that Stardust, the extra Stardust. They just want to use Pokemon they already have, especially on a 4-time Stardust week like we talked about at the beginning. So I wouldn't be surprised if you guys see Vigoroth Lantern cores being very, very common. Next up, Dunsparce. This is a Pokemon you guys might be laughing at. I'm just going to just always assume that there are new players watching this right now. Yes, Dunsparce is good. Dunsparce has access to Rollout. It got a moveset update a while back. It's got Rollout, Rock Slide, and Drill Run. A fantastic combination. Also has Astonish now too, which got big updates. Energy Gain a few seasons back, and the damage update as well this season. So Dunsparce going to be a good option, potential good safe swap to draw out Vigoroth like we were saying earlier. So maybe you have an Aurorus and Dunsparce because you still cover what you need to, right? Even Skarmory, even though this says it's hard loss, you're still doing some neutral damage with that Rock Slide and Rollout. Skarmory, I mean, it's strong, right? The Steel Wing update made it very, very powerful, but it does have a lot of hard answers. This is going to be a polarized Pokemon for this meta, so you don't want to utilize it as a safe swap. You want to try to hide this thing in the back or have it on the lead, most likely. Hidden in the back is probably going to be the safest option because stuff like Togedemaru, Charjabug, Talonflame, Lantern, they're all going to be gunning for it. Double, this is another Pokemon, much like Dunsparce and Vigoroth, or more like Vigoroth I would say, is deadly on the safe swap because of the energy gain from Double Kick, the Body Slam, Charge Move, and Payback. It can do very, very well, and you also have access to Wild Charge here, which can surprise a lot of Pokemon. Skarmory, Talonflame, just a lot. Like Wild Charge, even though this says run Payback, sure, some people are going to get hit with Wild Charge, and it's going to be amazing or devastating, depending on what side you're on. Now we got some electrics. The three strongest electrics in this meta, outside of, we'll just count Lantern as the water. It is also electric, but Shadow Magnezone, Pachirisu, and Togedemaru, all of which have very good energy gaining fast moves with Volt Switch and Thunder Shock. They have good hard hitting charge moves, Wild Charge, Thunderbolt, and a Wild Charge here, and they have good bait moves, Mirror Shot, Thunder Punch, and Fell Stinger. So take your pick. They all have different they all have similar coverages with somewhat different weaknesses, because Pachirisu here is just pure electric, whereas Magnezone and Togedemaru are part steel. So you take on some key, as you guys can see here, part steel. You take on some key weaknesses, that being the fighting, and then more weak to ground and also fire, which is why we're seeing pseudo fighters with like Obstagoon and Vigoroth with counter doing very well, and fires just because of all these electrics, and also because of Skarmory. So Skeledirge going to be up here. Stunfisk, Arctibax as well is actually a pretty good one. This has been like sleeping on the meta. It's been very strong. Dragon Breath, Avalanche, and Dragon Claw. It also got access to Icy Wind, which you could potentially run if you want to utilize this as a safe swap. That Avalanche though still hits like a truck, so most people don't. We also got, if you guys remember this one, Lit Leo. This has been one that's been pretty fun and spicy to use when this meta comes around, because this meta likes to have a lot of Pokemon weak to fire. Abomasnow, Frostlass, Skarmory, Charjabug, as you guys can see in years past, this has been a strong Pokemon to run. Now it has Incinerate, Flame Charge, and Crunch, which is a good combination there to have. And then we kind of get down more into the spicier picks of the meta, but these are all going to be very strong, and I think stuff that you guys could give a try. Some notable mentions here: Wigglytuff, obviously, has to watch out for Skarmory, but outside of that, Charmander, I mean, even a Skarmory, if it comes in, you still have Icy Wind debuffs. And if your whole goal is to get Skarmory out of the game, because a lot of people will be running it, this could be that option on safe swap because of Icy Wind. But yeah, really strong pick there. And I also think a lot of people will still run Lickitung, just because it's just extremely bulky. It's going to be one of those Pokemon where you can just set it onto the field, get yourself an advantage in some way just because of how bulky it is. But you do have some two key counters you got to watch out for, and that's going to be Obstagoon and Vigoroth, because they heavily resist that fast move of Lick, right, from Lickitung. But yeah, that is a first look at the meta, and what we're going to do now is talk about the teams. All right, so diving into some very strong teams that you guys can run for this Holiday Cup meta. This comes from Inadequence. I'm going to link his Twitter or X. Twitter, it's Twitter to me, down in the description. You guys can go check him out. Fellow shoutcaster, content creator, streamer, and he put together a really solid list of teams from top players here in the EU. First up is going to be Colin 6. Palisand right there. We talked about that earlier. The Palisand being a very, very hard answer to Vigoroth, having access to hard-hitting charge moves to balance out its coverage on this meta. They're going to pair it with a double Anchor and a Vigoroth safe swap. Vigoroth baits out the fighting types. Palisand cleans up. These are the notes here from Colin 6. Double generally has wild charge for flyers. Told you guys, got to watch out for that. But payback helps against Frostlass. So that is going to be a give or take there. Next up, team number 2 is going to come from Dinoski here, which is going to be running the Skeledirge, Vigoroth, and double. You guys are kind of seeing a common trend here. Vigoroth, because of its amazing matchups, utilizing it as a safe swap is going to be very commonplace here in the meta. This team struggles more against Lantern, but does better against Frostlass as the note here. And you have the Skeledirge there on the lead for some really hard-hitting charge moves. Maybe catch some things like maybe an Abomasnow if you see that out there, maybe a Magnezone, right, or maybe a Skarmory, something that takes a lot of damage from Incinerate with the double normal backline. Next up, we have Paulasha 97 running Whimsicott, Shadow Charizard. You can see the little shadow there. I'm sure if you guys only have normal, you could still give that a try. And also Talonflame. So a double Fire Flyer backline with a Whimsicott lead. This is a very traditional ABB team. All of these are, to be fair, because of their typings and coverage. But the whole point of the Whimsicott lead there is to hard counter the answers to Charizard and Talonflame in this meta. So it's going to be stuff like Lantern, for example. It says the note here is safe switch can be either Charizard. Safe switch can be either, but Charizard is better into Talonflame leads. Fairy Wind on Whimsicott for faster charge attack output right there. So a pretty strong, interesting team. Lots of booms to be had with that one. Definitely looks fun. And like we mentioned earlier, Whimsicott is also a good answer to Vigoroth. Along with Charizard and Talonflame, they just have to make sure they have shields for Rock Slides. Next up, we have Weedle with the BBML team with Altaria, Vigoroth, and Lantern. A very strong, I would say, traditional meta team when it comes to this specific meta. It's interesting because I don't think we're going to see as many Abomasnow this time around because of how everything's shaking out. Where before in seasons past, Abomasnow was very common and it would be tough to run the Altaria and Lantern. But I think Weedle here is going to take a gamble and a risk that, you know what, this team might be core broken by Abomasnow, but with everything else out there in the top meta, Abomasnow will not have a fun time, so maybe not a lot of people are going to be running it. Frostlass lead is tough, according to his notes, but otherwise a solid all-around team. Lantern runs Spark for better Dugong matchup. That is a good note right there. I had mentioned at the beginning on PV Poke that it's running Water Gun because of all the fire, ground, rock matchups there. But as a note, that obviously Dugong is a bit troublesome for this team, so they're deciding to run. Sorry, my hands touching the desk a few times there. It's my ring. They need a Spark to answer Dugong a bit better. All right, next up we have Tho Tactical. Tho here got the Dunsparce. Absolutely love it. Dunsparce we had mentioned earlier, really fantastic moveset. Very good at just putting pressure, especially when it's a head-on energy, because its charge moves are have very good cross coverages on this meta. Dunsparce is also very tanky, and it's a great core breaker against Lickitung, Lantern, Fire, and Ice types. Vigoroth lead is tough, but may require Talonflame to clean up is the final note here. And I want you guys to notice that Vigoroth is being used as a safe swap by a lot of 4 out of the 5 here. of these top performing trainers in the Play Pokemon Tournament series. These guys, all these trainers here are incredibly skilled, and they know that leveraging Vigoroth Safe Swap is going to be a big key to victory. Now, those deciding to go with the Talonflame on the close here, I'd be curious to see what moveset he would recommend, because you could run with Fly or Brave Bird, and I think he might opt to run with Fly. Me personally, I mean, I like Brave Bird because of the big boom, but Fly is like the best flying type charge move now in the meta. So I think it's going to be up to you what you decide to do. I think Fly might be a bit more consistent on that neutral damage. But yeah, you guys let me know which Talonflame you're running and why. And we're going to move into the final team here. You guys can't see it. I'm sorry. Hold on. Give me 1 second. A live edit. There we go. Go over here. This team, I don't even know. Oh, this is Master League. I was about to say, I was like, how did he get Virizion into the Great League? No, this is a Master League team. So for everyone who loves Master League, this is actually very spicy from Tomahawk UK. This is going to be a Shadow Tyranitar lead with a Lugia Safe Swap and a Virizion closer. We're going to read the notes here, because I don't play Master League. For all of you who don't know, I just personally don't play Master League. It requires a lot of candy and a lot of Stardust and a lot of raids, and I just can't do that. So that's why I don't play Master League. I used to back when it was 40, because that was totally fine. I got tons of 40 Pokemon that I would do in Master League, but now 50 is like, it's a bit tough, which is why I stick to Specialty Cups, Great League, and Ultra League. But anyways, this team, the notes, a core-breaking focused team with Lugia as the generalist. Lugia, massive, just thick flying bird there. Tyranitar can 2-shield through Zacian and Xerneas if needed, and Virizion core breaks Dialga and Kyogre. So very interesting bringing this team. You guys let me know down in the comments, since I don't do Master League and I don't really shoutcast too many Master League battles. I'm out of touch with the meta, but this definitely looks like something spicy. Because I think a lot of people run Zacian and Dialgas and Kyogres and what have you. So this looks very fun. If you guys want to give that a try, so shout out to Tomahawk UK for sharing this Master League team with us. I thought it was still funny. I thought this was a Holiday Cup team, and I'm like, wow, how did that is spicy. But anyways, these are the teams here. Let me know what you guys think. I think some common trends, like we talked about at the beginning. Let me change this so you guys can see. Some common trends. Vigoroth, it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be on most teams. You need to account for it in some ways. And a pro tip for you all: if your opponent swaps in a Vigoroth, you do not swap in a Vigoroth to that Vigoroth. That is one of the cardinal sins of Go Battle League. We learned that in 2019 in the Jungle Cup, for all of you that were there. Vigoroth is not an answer to Vigoroth right away. It is an answer if you do one of two things. If you get a shield from it, or you chip its health. Because if you can, let's say the Vigoroth swaps in, and maybe you throw a Seed Bomb with your Whimsicott, and then that chunks the health, you can then bring in your own Vigoroth to basically counter down. You'll have to give up 2 shields in order to do so, but you could come in and fully counter down and maintain switch and have energy on back end. What happens if you swap in right away is you're just going to get outpaced to the charge moves, because both Vigoroths throw the charge moves at the same energy, and if you're behind on energy, that last body slam, once 2 shields are gone, you're just going to get taken out. So never swap in a Vigoroth to another Vigoroth right away. You got to soften it up and get an advantage in some way, and then you can bring it in, right? But shout out to all these trainers. I believe most of them do stream as well, so be sure to go check them out. They stream on Twitch, and yeah, all very, very strong competitors in Play Pokemon. Excited to see how they perform the rest of this season here. So shout out to Inadequence. Thank you for putting this graphic together and getting these teams organized. You guys can go check out his Twitter down in the description, and let me know what you guys think. Here's the meta. Let me know what you guys think about the Holiday Cup here. It is back. I think it's always been a good meta. But Vigoroth might be a bit tough this time with Rock Slide if you're not running something, if you're running something weak to Rock Slide, right? So hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.